welcome to our Thriving One podcast. And we are your hosts, Matt and Lindsay Coyle. And today we are going to dive right into a great topic. It's called The Keys to a Transformed Life. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Yes. Take it away.
I love it. Yes. So we've been thinking about, what are some of the key elements in our lives as we've been mentoring and coaching people for the last 25 years that have really been instrumental in helping people get launched into their lives being transformed or moving from one season to the next in a thriving state.
Yes.
And so today we just want to hit on some keys and just really encourage you guys with this topic.
Yeah.
So as I was kind of thinking about it and was looking back in our own life, one of the key elements and something that happens when people come to us is accountability.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And so, accountability in my life has kind of had some negative connotations. But when I mean accountability is having some form of mentor in your life. And so obviously people come to us to be coached, counseled, etc. And so when they come to us, they're setting themselves up for success in moving forward. Why is this important? I can look back in my life and I would say one of the most important themes to my growth as a man from I can remember way back into my junior high years. I always had some form of a mentor in my life. In those days, it was a youth leaders from the church that I went to. I was really blessed to have really solid men in my life that I could relate to and I could spend time to and receive from. And obviously they were kind of like training me up, as it were, encouraging me in my walk with the Lord, in my walk as a man, stepping into manhood. And I can remember, each person from Larry Keller to George Negretti, to Mark Dolan, shout out to my mentors in my high school years, Doug Schutz, like all these people were important people in my life. And I wouldn't be the man I am today without those influences. And so my accountability to them was they were always calling out the best in who I was.
That's good.
And, what I found in mentoring people and in my own life is it's easy to kind of get stuck in our routines and neglect our value. But when we have someone in our life that's consistently checking in on us or they're walking the road before us, it's like this accountability. It's this I call it positive pressure, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Instead of kind of like, because I can say to myself, I'll do it later, or I can like be like, I don't have to do it now. But when I know someone is watching out for me, someone's even having a healthy expectation of like, hey, this is who you are, go for who you are. I get a deep sense of belief in myself. And that's really key, especially in your younger years, even as an adult in my 40s, like the friendships. So for me, even currently, I have a core group of friends around me, men, that we encourage one another. We're accountable to one another, and in our lives, we speak encouragement. Like, so I meet with a group weekly, every Saturday morning with a group of it was 6 men. 2 guys have moved and onto other things in their life, which is exciting. And so that consistency has really given me momentum and that sense that I know that I'm believed in and I'm in community. And it's something that kind of another thing that kind of marked me and Lindsay, and I'll let her share about this, is when we got married. This was such an important theme in my life and our life that when we got married, we had something called honor guards. So so we had our best men and our groomsmen.
We didn't have a best man or honor.
We had the groomsmen and what do they call it?
The groomsmen and the bridesmaids.
The bridesmaid. We had those. And then we had 3 males and 3 females that represented to us the importance of community in our lives. And so we had someone that we themed them, right? So there's somebody that we were looking up to and was like a mentor in our life. So someone maybe a little,
Represented the mentor.
yeah.
Yeah.
So one male, one female, and then we had
Mhm.
someone that we're running with, you
Yeah.
know, so
Our
like this,
peers.
our peers. This was our
Mhm.
relationship, people that we were encouraging within our own journey. And we had someone that was younger than us
Mhm.
that we were mentoring
Yeah.
and discipling and sowing into.
Mhm.
And this was something that was really key to our life and how we've
Mhm.
walked and grown and
Yeah.
thrived in each season
Yeah.
of our life.
I think that was like a great reminder,
Mhm.
you know, to start our marriage, and we wanted it to symbolize something that we wanted to continue on. Like
Mm.
even though like we don't consistently like keep up with some friends and some mentors and some people that we
Well,
have mentored,
seasons
but it
change, and those we still have those representations in
right.
our
So
life.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Like even though like those some of the relationships
Mm.
seasonally will change,
Yeah.
the representation of each of the honor guards, like the person that is mentoring us and the person that running with us and then the person who we're mentoring, those
Mhm.
key elements represent each of the honor guards and each of the people, that type of people that we want to have in our lives continually. So
Yeah.
even though like, and this is for you too, you know, like
Mhm.
you don't have to get stuck with just one person,
Yeah.
because I don't think like one person can
Mhm.
fulfill each of those roles.
Right.
So but when we got married, like we had one of those roles as a representation, that each of
Mhm.
those representation could represent a group of people. You know, it's
Yes.
not just like one mentor, one peer, and one person that you're mentoring. It could represent like a community, but it represents something, that a reminder that in each season of our lives, like no
Mhm.
matter where we're at, like whether it's 5 years married, 10, 15, we're coming up to our 18th year,
Yeah.
you know, of marriage in February. It just reminds us, you know,
Mhm.
that hey, you know, do we have these people, types of people in our lives in
Yeah.
each season of our marriage, of our family life? Because that's something also that we want to instill with our daughter, to where
Yeah.
like, yeah, like friends come and go, and there's people, all obviously friendships that you will have closely all throughout your life, but in every season, each of those roles shift as
Mhm.
well. But having people in mind consistently, no matter where you're at, almost sets you up for success, sets you up for continually having a
Mhm.
transformed life, because you have something in place.
Yeah.
So, and I think that that was one of the things that was really valuable for us, you know, when we first got married. And I could even remember us like sitting down, like, you know, instead of having, you know, in your wedding, you have a best man and a maid of honor. So we didn't have those. We had the honor guards.
Mm.
So that was such a genius idea, even, you know, from that time, like Matt, you know, like we were like in our early 20s. We were like 25, 27, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and even then, like I felt like because of the communities, like from Matt, he
Mhm.
mentioned all of his mentors, right?
Mhm.
He had those, and I had my share too, you know.
Yeah.
And I had many women who mentored me, who were in my peer, you know, and people that I mentored that stayed with me, that lifted me up. You know, I call them my Mark II friends. You know, like
Mhm.
when you're in the mat and you're the paralyzed person, and you have at least 4 people,
Yeah.
you know, that can lift you up when you can no longer lift yourselves. And
Yeah.
I think one of the aspects that is important in this podcast is also recognizing that who are those people in your lives.
Yes.
You know, the honor guards, whether you're like, oh, I resonate with the honor guards, I want that, or whether it's the Mark II friends, to where
Mm.
one day, one season of your life, you may be one of those 4 friends. Like you have energy and you're like, I will take you to Jesus, you know, I will have you, you can't, I will push past all the crowds and I will lower you down to have an encounter with God.
Yeah. Yeah.
But sometimes we're the people that are on the mat.
Mhm.
So I think like recognizing those two things, you know, like just putting in my 2 cents in
Yeah.
here, recognizing that there are those two things in place, and many others, like, you know, as you're watching or listening, that hey, like, oh, you can take into account, you know, like, or have what I would call an inventory
Mm.
of your life, you know, like that could encourage you to be like, hey, you may think like, oh, I don't have those people. And
Mhm.
then when you spend time with the Lord and you take an inventory of your life and you're like, wow, I do have those people and I
Mhm.
just don't know how to recognize them yet. So,
Yeah, and I think that's a good segue to this, that
mm,
you know, like how do you find those people? And
right.
I want to direct the conversation a little bit more towards someone that's above you.
Mhm.
So someone
Yeah.
that
Yep.
has experienced that you need to move forward.
Mhm.
And so mentors. And
Yeah.
a couple ways that I found mine. One is through prayer. I
Mhm.
ask, Lord, hey,
Yeah.
this is what I need. So it's releasing your intention to God and coming in agreement with what He already wants. Like
Yeah.
his
His
desire
desire.
is maturity, that
Mhm.
we grow in love, right? And so I say prayer. I know with my group of men, and
Mhm.
we're all at different levels in our relationship within that group.
Yeah.
But I remember it was we transitioned out of our last role pastoring,
Mhm.
and we were starting our business here in Coil Coaching, and I said, "Oh Lord, I need to be in a group
Mhm.
of entrepreneur men because that's what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I'm starting my own
Right.
business. I need to be around that kind of people."
Yeah.
And it wasn't but a week later that I met a guy who was in was in this group, and he invited me to come.
Mm.
I got connected, and I was the
Yeah.
last guy in the group. We only had 6 men because it
Wow.
gets a little bit too big after 6. And
Right.
then we ran together for the last pretty much 2 years, and
Yeah.
then the wives ended up meeting together also,
Yep.
which is a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. And then the other thing is to we're going to segue into this for the next key here
Mhm.
is invest in yourself.
Oh, yes.
So obviously,
Yes.
we do coaching, we do consulting, we do counseling, and a
Mhm.
lot of what we've done is that fulfilled that role.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, you can have, great people, but they're not at a level that you need to move forward.
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah.
if you're doing business, maybe you need a business coach.
Yes.
Okay, maybe it's in your marriage, you need a life coach that does relationships,
Mhm.
something like what we do. Maybe with your kids.
Mhm.
And so investing in yourself is one of those key elements
Yeah.
of transformation and actually moving forward in a
Mhm.
rapid state. A few of the ways I know I've recognized that I have moved forward quickly is doing programs or doing
Mhm.
schools or doing
Yep.
college, right? Those are some obvious
Mm.
things, but they're key in each of our lives that we have some kind of consistency
Yeah.
of accountability,
Mhm.
right? Because groups like that create accountability. A coach
Yes.
or a mentor, a paid mentor,
Mhm.
um, causes you to move forward.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I've always said, and I say this to our clients, I don't, when we talk about the payment side of it, I don't
Mhm.
consider it a payment. I consider it an investment. That's the
Yes.
language that I use
Yes.
because that's what I do in my own life.
Yep.
I invest into myself. And
Mhm.
the reason that I invest in myself is because I know I'm valuable.
Yeah. That's
And
good.
two, I know I can't
Mhm.
do it on my own.
Yeah. I
It's
agree.
so key that we
Mhm.
need people in our life. So there's those that are in our life, in our community that
Yeah.
we're going for, and there's those that are like, man, I need to really
Yeah.
accelerate. I need to actually pay and invest into my life
Mhm.
to get that
Yeah.
experience for where I want to go next.
Yeah. And I think that even like segueing that to what we do here at Coil Coaching,
Mhm.
we have so many pathways. Like what
Yeah.
I was saying to Matt, like, like we have many pathways, a few pathways in Coil Coaching to where like you can invest in yourself, like
Mm.
meeting one-on-one with us,
Yeah.
and you can also invest in yourself where you can do a hybrid of a program where we meet as a group and you also meet one-on-one with us,
Right.
and there's our mini courses that we do, like kind of
Mhm.
like a supplement to what you're doing in the program. And many of these people, they return, or they just, like they realize after the initial like
Yeah.
first few meetings,
They realize the value.
yeah, they realize that not just the value of the
Mm.
program, but they realize that they are valuable
Yes.
and that they are investing into their future, into their now. Because
Right.
like a lot of these things that Matt is talking about is the consistency part of it.
Mhm.
Like we're taught, consistency is key. But one of the things that we need to work with that consistency is key is the consistency of rest and consistency
Mm.
of continually investing in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you don't want to do things out of an empty cup.
Right. So
You,
this is key number
Mhm.
3.
Yes.
Rest.
Oh, yes, rest.
Rest.
Key number 3 is rest. Consistency is key, but out of that consistency, you have to also partner that with
Mm.
rest and investing in yourself.
Yeah.
Because when you are consistently showing up for other people, you need to realize that you need to also consistently show up for you, meaning rest and invest.
Ooh, I like it.
Rest,
Rest and invest.
rest, meaning like, okay, I need to take some time, like our body needs to sleep, right? And that's how we replenish our energy.
Mhm.
And same thing with you. We specialize in spiritual, emotional, and relational health. Therefore, in a lot of the things that we
Yeah.
do, one-on-one programs and our mini courses, we have that thing called like because of that, we all need to be aware of our spiritual, emotional, and relational health.
Yeah.
So therefore, we equip you,
Mm.
leaders. If this is you, leaders, emerging leaders, this is a sign
Come on.
for you. Like, invest in your spiritual, emotional, and relational intelligence.
Yes.
Because those three things, if you want to be consistent about something, those three things are a few of the things in a transformed life out of consistency and rest and invest. So
Yeah,
you
so
rest
good.
to invest, and the investment comes from pouring into yourself, allowing some people, like what Matt said, allowing some people to invest in that, pour into you. So when you pour out, you don't pour out from an empty cup,
Yeah.
because pouring out from an empty cup equals burnout.
Yeah.
But pouring out from a full cup equals a transformed and thriving life.
So good. Yeah, rest.
Mhm.
Rest. I was just on a backpacking trip this last weekend for 2 days, fishing and resting.
Yes.
Just unplugging and getting away to connect with who I am and what I love to do. So key. So key.
Wow.
The fourth key here that I want to mention is, as you're moving forward in seeking a mentor,
Mhm.
investing into yourself, pursuing rest and resetting, is humility. It takes.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to combine two: humility and resourcefulness.
Mm.
So you might be saying, "Oh, Matt, I can't afford to pay for coaching or to be in a program." I want to say to you, like, that is a limitation
Mhm.
mindset in and of itself. The reality is, $120. You could
Mhm.
make that once a month through being
Yeah.
resourceful, be it
Mhm.
babysitting, if it's be an Uber driver.
Right.
There's
Right.
so many ways that we can trade what we do to
Mhm.
waste time and do things out of humility. Because I
Mhm.
remember when I was going to a school in one season of my life, I had a bunch of random odd jobs. I
Right.
was being resourceful to make it happen.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and in that sign, that time I had an acceleration
Mhm.
in my personal growth
Yeah.
in my life. And it came down to me being humble and resourceful to go after it. And it's not like, oh, I can't afford to do that. Cause those are limiting mindsets. I can't afford to
Mhm.
do that. I love using the phrases, I'm going to figure out how.
Right.
And we could do a whole topic on limiting mindsets, and I
Yeah.
think you did touch a little bit with that with Kim
Shifting
last time,
mindset. Yeah.
shifting
Yeah.
mindsets.
That's a good one.
But limiting mindsets is a real important thing to
Yes.
be aware
Oh,
of.
that's good.
What next topic?
Ah.
What is the way that I'm thinking that's limiting me?
Mhm.
And being resourceful is a key element
Yeah.
to that, and humility. I mean, doing things that maybe you're like, "Ah, that's below me."
Yeah. I know.
I cleaned toilets. I worked at a pet store,
Right.
part time. I worked at a Lowe's at one time. So I was being resourceful, and the money's
Mhm.
out there. There's so many online things you could
Oh,
do here and
yeah.
there. And so
So
there's
many.
no limitation to you sowing into investing into
Mhm.
your future or
Yeah.
having a mentor in your life.
Yeah. And one of the things also that I would like to combine
Mm,
with shifting mindsets with the limiting mindset. I
mhm.
think they're like twins
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
Limiting and limiting mindset to shifting mindset.
Mhm.
And I read this somewhere, and I shared this with our coil coaching women. Like, I put a post out there, like, about what's the best piece of advice that you've received or gotten and how it has impacted you.
Mhm.
So I had a bunch of women, like it's so fun, to see a
Yeah,
bunch of
yeah.
women share the advice that they've given. And I shared what impacted me. didn't realize it, I shared this like, and it goes like this, like using using the phrase I don't have time
Mhm.
and replacing it with it's not a priority. So
Interesting,
if you
yeah.
can say like I don't have time to invest in my personal growth, it's like saying if you change it to like it's not it's not a priority for me to invest into my personal growth. It hits very differently.
Yeah.
Like I don't have time to invest in my personal growth, or investing in my personal growth is not a priority. It hits very differently,
Yeah.
because time is a choice. Like segueing that, like partnering it with Matt was saying earlier, like the humility, like because time is a choice and you have the ability and the power
Yeah.
to spend it or invest in it wisely.
Yeah.
So maybe like, like you can try it out, like you say, like, saying I don't have time or I don't have money, and replacing that statement with it's not a priority.
Yes.
And insert whatever it is that you're like, yeah, I would love to do that, but I don't have time. Or yeah, I would love to do that, but I don't have the money. And replace it with like, it's not a priority, and see how that hits you.
Yeah.
And I do that once in a while with things that I know that is so important and key to continue to living a transformed life and a thriving life. It's like almost like, man, I can't afford not to sleep, because if I wake up cranky, that's going to affect Matt and Madison. Like
Right.
it is not a good use of my time.
Exactly.
So I make it a point and a priority to take a nap if I need to.
Yeah.
Or to sleep.
Yeah.
Now that I can, because Madison is older and she can sleep through the night, and so
Yay.
so in every season of your life there are those things, and it really does take a lot of humility.
Yeah.
In our part, even humility to ask, like, yeah, I do need this.
And it takes humility to ask for help.
And yes, that's
right. So looking for a mentor,
Yeah.
investing into yourself. It takes humility. And one of my favorite verses out of James 4:6-8, it says, God opposes the proud,
Yeah.
but gives grace to the humble. And it's been a scripture that's really marked my life on how I lead my life. That humility, I want to insert humility in every area of my life as much as I can, because when I do it, there's an empowerment and there's a favor. It's not, see, grace is like a form of favor from God. It's kind of like, if you throw something in the air, gravity, it's going to fall. It's like a law. And if you're not like along like with generosity, generosity is another law. We could do a whole topic on the laws the laws of success. But the reality is humility sets you up for it to be drawn to you, as it were. It gets
like
dropped
faith,
right in front of your lap.
Yes.
And so humility sets you up for that breakthrough.
Yeah.
So good.
That's so good, babe.
This is a great topic, man. We could even continue on. I got other things on my mind here. But what I want to share with you guys here is, hey, we love you guys. If you love us, man, wherever you're listening, like, make a comment, even subscribe. And definitely, would you guys share? Send us a big hug by sharing this message with somebody that would be encouraging to. And also, we're super excited to announce that our Kingdomized One program, which is our personal development leadership program that goes for 6 months. And you can choose just to do the first segment, which is called Thriving One, or you can do the whole program. And with the program comes coaching sessions also. And so you can check it out on our website at coilcoaching.com. And there's also a bunch of free resources we want to get in your guys' hands. Not just this podcast, obviously our social media, we have free content that we're constantly giving out, but we have a free course on our website, again, coilcoaching.com. The first page, it says free training, a free course, I believe it says. And all you got to do is click on, there's 3 videos that we want to get in your guys' hands to encourage you, to equip you, and so that you can be empowered to be a thriving one.
Come on.
So
Yeah.
We bless you guys,
Yay.
and we bless your journey. And I'm just going to go ahead and pray for you guys as we wrap up this time.
Yes.
Lord, I thank you for each one of our friends and each one of the thriving ones out there that are pursuing you. They're growing. They're in community. They're leaning into you, Father God. And we just bless. I bless your spirit. I bless your soul. I bless your body. And I bless everything that you put your hands to do. And Lord, may you just bring the mentors, bring the finances, bring the favor as they access their humility in Jesus' name. Bless you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.